Chapter 22 Spider Thread Experiments. The labyrinth exploration is going well. It goes too well until I might laugh loudly. It looks like this area is the territory of the centipedes. The centipedes are useful to gain experience from them. Their senses are too dull, and they don't stop my surprise attack. The victory is already decided if I take its rear or its top. Thanks to that, I can defeat it easily. After defeating a number of centipedes, my level rose to 7. Unfortunately, there are no skills that leveled up through the bonus point. The paralysis resistance skill level rose to 2 because I keep on eating centipedes. I can accumulate the experience points here easily, and the usable skill paralysis resistance also gained a level. It was good as a hunting ground. Of course, I didn't take things easily. I gained experience through the combat for my objective. Right? I gained experience through the combat for my objective, and I had increased the variations of my surprise attacks. The weakness of my thread is that I can only release it from my bottom, so I must turn my bottom toward my opponent when I want to restrain it. As for the pose, I stand with 2 hind legs and stick out my bottom. Because of the chance of the opponent to strike back is big, the method I use was easier to release my thread when I'm glued to my opponent or jump on the air to launch an aerial aerial bombing of threads. However, these methods are considerably dangerous. In the property of the thread, my victory is decided if I succeed, but the backlash when I failed is huge. It would be difficult to avoid my opponent's attack if I'm glued to it. I might get shot down if I jump into the air like how my brother did before. It's slightly different from the word high risk, high return. Well, that's why I developed some methods to use my thread safely. Right. It's a new weapon called the portable web. In short, I make a small web and hold it with my forelegs. The advantage of this small web is that I get rid of any chance of being counterattacked, because I only need to charge forward while holding it. Well, compared to my unreasonable posture when I released my thread until now, it's considerably easier. On the contrary, its flaw is that I can't use my 2 forelegs when I'm holding it. Because I have another 6 legs, it gets off with a little feeling of inconvenience. Other than that, I need to make this web beforehand. Well, it would be an instant for me to make such a web, as I'm already a professional web craftsman, even though it's self-proclaimed. The completion of a wonderful weapon with a low risk and high return. I tried making various weapons, but it all ended up as failure. As a side who launches surprise attacks, I wanted some safety measures against surprise attacks. Therefore, I was going to develop the enemy searching thread, which I thought for a long time. This is an invisible thin thread released into the air from my bottom, and I can sense the approaching enemy from the information obtained from the thread. It's different. I got the 2 from the one underneath there. It's different from the time I set it up in my home, which I have hanging loosely. There's too much problems to set it up. It was disastrous. If I were to leave the thread alone, I would get tangled with other threads and get caught in the wall. Moreover, it's inevitable that I would get distracted if I can obtain every single information. Even if I try to concentrate so that it won't happen, I would put all my consciousness in it, and I won't be aware of my surroundings. At this point, I gave up on the implementation of the enemy searching thread. Next, I thought of raising my poor defense, so I tried making defense clothes with threads. Well, if I were to say from the results, then it was not good. Though it's possible to make clothes, but it was extremely hard to wear it. In the first place, I am a spider. I don't have dexterous hands like humans, and I have complicated body structure, so I can't wear clothes no matter how much effort I put on it. Then, how about wrapping my body with threads? This is also rejected. Though I can wrap myself with threads, but there's also a possibility that it might obstruct my movements if I wrap myself half-baked. I can't afford to cut down my speed, which is one of my characteristics for such a reason. Therefore, it's necessary to wrap myself properly, but it's not possible to wrap myself until I'm consent because of the same reason a while ago. In addition, even if I was able to wear it, there's no meaning to it if I can't take it off. At any rate, my figure changes each time I eat. If I were to expand like a ball while wearing clothes, isn't it painful if it happens? Though I have another method. I can borrow someone's hand. If I can borrow someone's hands, but it's impossible with my legs and body that can't even look back. This was also abandoned. When thinking like this, the spider's body has also its own merits and demerits. Though I can jump, leap, and stick on the wall, but not having a hand is really a bottleneck. I thought seriously about the human's hands was really convenient. By the way, the skill level up of the spider thread didn't rise even though I experimented this much. As expected, the necessary skill proficiency increased with the skill level. Well, unlike the time I shut myself in my home, I don't want to see the threads waste. I don't want to use my threads wastefully as much as possible. Unlike my safe home, anything can happen in the outside, so I want to maintain a perfect state as much as possible. The reason I was able to experiment my threads after a long time was because there's a food called centipede around here. Though there were many failures in this experiment, there were things that I gained too. If there's an opportunity, I should do some trial and errors in the future. Yeah, figuring shit out. It's a cool chapter, so I like it.